Hello everybody. Something I've been thinking about for quite a while was on the subject that I did want to talk about. Not that I know the right or wrong answer to what I was thinking about, but it's something I wanted to, something for people to consider about going to failure on taking sets to failure. I know just looking at, the gurus, I guess you would say, in bodybuilding community, in particular, there's two camps of thought, I guess you would say, and one is the must go to failure, which is usually the bro types, I guess you would say, called the bro types, bro science. And then you've got the, scientific, saying quotation marks, camp that's, I don't need to go to failure. And even one of them has a lot of followers. And I understand why, because his method of, saying how, what builds muscle is, it's kind of the easy way. And he says, even he calls it RIR, reps in reserve, which you can work out with and leave 5 reps in reserve. Actually, if you could only possibly do 15 reps of failure, then you could actually just do 10, and that, it's the volume that builds. You just kind of, to where, what I have to say is, the results does not match the science, from what I'm saying. And I am absolutely not anti-science at all. I know science has done great things for us, but what I am anti is, I believe, and you listen to like Andrew Huberman, and he'll talk about things that has creeped into the research, scientific community of, a lot of bias, a lot of ego, of a lot of want to be the next person that is looked to as, the authority figure on whatever subject it is, the next Nobel Prize winner, whatever, instead of just trying to figure out stuff or create things for the good of humanity. No matter what it does, no matter how much it disproves what you think, it seems to be, people come up with an idea and they just try to bend the experiments to match what they think is true, and with completely ignoring the results. And I'll say, when it comes to going to failure, and where I've seen this also, with like intermittent fasting, finally they done an experiment with intermittent fasting that shows that, it does. It's not just calorie reduction. It's not just, well, that was the main gist of it, that it was said, well, all it is calorie reduction. To which I knew better than that. Just trying it myself, I was like, I basically replicated the experiment that they finally done, just with me being the only test subject. And now that's come out that, it is actually doing something beyond, if you do not keep the calories the same, anyway, it's what I'm trying to say, not to get into intermittent fasting. It is shown that, it's doing something beyond calorie reduction, now that they finally done a correct experiment. And so when it comes to failure, I think when you look at the people that have in history and now they have really taken their physiques to what majority of people thought was, beyond what people thought was possible. They have this one, majority of them, this common thing that they take their sets to failure and beyond failure, like right on the verge of seeing the face of God type failure. I mean, maybe they'll make it out alive, maybe they won't. And I'm not saying that is necessary, but taking it to the point that you can't do another rep. And I'll say to that, not even taking it to the point of you can't do another rep, but taking it to the point that if you've done 7 last week, at least do 8 progressive overload. And it may get, and to make it to that 8 may take some, psyching yourself up. It may take, 7 might be the absolute failure. And it may take some cattle prodding, some screaming, some slapping the face, whatever, to eke out that 8th rep. If, particularly if you're getting close to your genetic potential. And, really, if you don't have help from tons of hormones, steroids, and all that, to, when you get close after a few years of training to make progress, it is going to take giving it all you got, that one more rep, to make that progress. And it's going to be tough. And when I heard one researcher say, like, how do they know, like, what is how much effort does it take to increase muscle growth? And he was like, well, how did they do this? And he was like, well, they took a biopsy of a sliver of muscle, and they basically put it in a petri dish and exposed it to some sort of potassium, and it flexed this amount in this amount of time, and yada. And I was just like, what? That is how you determined it? Even though, never mind, you look at the Tom Platts, the Ronnie Coleman's, the Skip LaCours, the Jeff Willett's, the Paul Krieger, I think I'm saying that name right. The the Jay Cutler saying he'd done squats till his nose bled. To how many of them, taking themselves to insane levels of, levels of failure. And like I say, the results speak for themselves. I'm like, well, if your experiment is saying this, in the face of results, maybe look into seeing what holes you might have in your experiment, and to try to match the results. Because to me, results, the question of what is true, what is most true, well, what yields the result you're looking for, to me, is the most truth. Even if it goes beyond logic, what yields the result you're looking for? And that is how you know what is most true. And I'll say end it with this. I've rambled on way too long, more than I wanted to. I'll say, just think of those that are doing these experiments. Just think of, put this in, give it some thought. That they'll acknowledge, for years they said the placebo effect was just like It was not real. It was kind of like just coincidence. But now, through that the research has caught up with the results, they'll acknowledge that the placebo effect is a real thing, that there's people that can take a sugar pill or whatever the placebo is and actually change their body physically, whether it be like lower the blood pressure or change blood sugar levels or heal body parts or whatever, heal wounds. And they will absolutely acknowledge that that is a true thing, and that the placebo effect is nothing more than the mind belief. It is the mind believing that that placebo that they are taking is having is causing the effect, when really all it is the belief in it. It is their mind having the effect because of the belief the mind has in it. So I would say, well, if you acknowledge that that is a true thing, then why couldn't taking a set to failure, absolute failure, to where possibly the mind thinks that lifting that weight is a life or death situation that it is in, that it must grow muscle, gain strength, because the belief that you have instilled by taking that set to that level is that the body must do this, it must adapt, it must grow in order to survive. That you're essentially igniting a type of mind altering / placebo effect on muscle growth and strength. And that is why taking sets to failure, not because the stress that the muscle is being put on. It is the state of the mind that it takes to get to that point, to push that far, that could be having the effect. And that is why going to failure, going beyond failure, taking yourself to that limit is so effective. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.